You get to meet a real Mississippi cowboy today. We've got Mississippi native Cody Traylor. He has thrown his hat into the ring to prove that he deserves the reigning title as INSP's show, Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. So welcome, Cody.
Howdy, how are y'all today?
I like that you're wearing your hat today. I can appreciate that. So where are you joining us?
It's difficult to wear it inside. I'm sorry.
Well, we appreciate it. I like the look. And so where are you joining us today on Good Things? Where is Cody the Cowboy?
I am sitting in Holstein Saddlery in Deer Park, Washington, where I work at. Warmest grass winter job I've ever had in my life.
Pretty cool place.
Oh, yeah.
A little far from home. I want to learn more about your hometown background. So where are your Mississippi roots, Cody?
Well, kind of spread out around North Mississippi. I reckon the first half of my childhood in Marshall County, in Byhalia, Mississippi, and then moved to Boonville, Hobo, Prentiss County. Grew up in Prentiss County from the time I was 12 till I left and joined the military. So I graduated from USide High School, in USide, Mississippi, and I bounced, but I've always said there's one thing in my life that's always stayed the same. If everything's ever changed, and I don't know why I don't claim West Point as a hometown, but the only thing in my life that has ever stayed the same is Lone Oak Road in West Point, Mississippi. So just all over. I'm a Mississippi boy, and I've always said I'm the proudest son of Dixie there is, even though I don't live there anymore.
That's okay. That doesn't mean you won't settle down back here in Mississippi at some point in your life. Mississippi has a way of drawing you back in, Cody, even those that go out west or chase other dreams. And you're chasing the dream of the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. So explain the show to us and how you heard about it.
Well, one night me and an ex-girlfriend of mine were trying to find something to watch on TV, but we couldn't decide on what she wanted to watch, and she didn't want to watch a Western or a rodeo or something like that. And so we found this, and it was a combination between a reality show and cowboy. And so I was like, we'll just compromise right here. And so we ended up. Oh, you can go right through the door. I just got to shut it for an interview on here.
I didn't know what you're doing.
You're fine. I told you we're in the shop, so
that is perfectly fine.
But no, we found it, and I got the idea to throw my hat in the ring for it and to compete. And I compete in rodeos. Anything that I do where there's a chance of winning. I always said I was never in ball sports really or anything, but I'm a pretty competitive person, and I like to go and try my hands at new things. So got the opportunity to do it, and well,
what was the audition process like, Cody? I'm interested. I mean, I know for reality shows or competitions for talent or singing, I mean, that's very obvious. You go and show them your skills, and then they choose whether you go on to the next round and yada, yada. But for a cowboy competition, how does that work? I mean, what did you have to show to those that were looking for contestants?
I just showed them who I am and what I do. It was a pretty, I'd say, easy process, and they just wanted to know about me and my life and what got me to where I'm at now. And I reckon to show why I deserve to be on the show. So
I know part of what got you to where you are now is the fact that you're a former U.S. Air Force mechanic. Thank you for your service. How did that sort of set the stage for you to be able to take the challenges on the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown?
Well, it didn't, because crew chiefing and cowboying are two totally different. I wish I could find something to say that would, bring them together. I reckon you could take the core values of the Air Force and apply it to cowboying, integrity and service, and integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all you do. And you can really apply those to cowboying especially. But there's a difference in turning wrenches on crew chiefing on a C-17 or a C-5 and being on a mountain in Wyoming and trying to get some cows from one side of a ravine to another. You know what I mean? I wish that there was a better way that I could put that, but it's just different ball field, or two different ball fields.
But you still have to have solutions. You have to stay focused. I'm sure think on your feet. There's probably a lot of things that if you had a little bit more time to think about it, Cody, you would definitely be able to connect the two. But you are right. It's completely different. You went from Prentiss, Mississippi to Wyoming. I mean, that's
Prentice
two
County,
totally different, or North Mississippi to Wyoming. I mean, that's totally different terrain. So what was the most shocking thing about, you say you're a cowboy and you get outside, yes, but that's here in Mississippi, outside's a little bit different than outside in Wyoming. So what shocked you most?
Well, I would say it wasn't really a shock. I've spent a good bit of time in Wyoming, and I lived in Alaska. I lived all over. And the Air Force question, I reckon this is where the Air Force could come and play. The Air Force put me in a lot of different situations in a lot of different places, and cowboying's done the same. I've gotten to be horseback in some of the most amazing country in the world, but that time in the Air Force taught me how to deal with elements that I'm not used to, or do the things like prepare for getting there, stuff like that. And like coming from Mississippi to Wyoming, in November in Mississippi, October, November, it might be 85 degrees. Ain't no one heard of snow, on the 1st of November in Mississippi. Maybe a freak time, once, but we got up there, it was snowing, and it was just windy. It was Wyoming. God, that wind, you think the wind in the Delta can get bad. That wind in Wyoming doesn't stop. It don't stop all the way through Nebraska either. It just keeps on blowing. And it'll get you if you're not prepared for it, that's for sure.
I would not be prepared for it, Cody. I would not last one show or challenge within the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown, which would probably make for great ratings. I don't know, but they need those that are good at it. And they need those that struggle.
And
so
look at on that show than I would, Rebecca. I'll tell you that.
Well, I appreciate that. Let's talk about the show, though. It is challenges, and so some of us we may be familiar with what we see at the rodeo, right? We just had the Dixie National here in Mississippi, and so you think of roping and riding and that kind of thing, or barrel racing. But what kind of challenges did they put you guys up to, or what can you share about the show? Because I know it hasn't started to air yet.
Yeah, it airs on the 21st, and after that, I'll have a little more liberty to say, more about what happened during it. But the general view is working cattle, because that's what cowboying is. It boils down to one thing, and it's working cattle, horseback, and especially on trying to put that on a show, you've got to do it right. And the challenges were, they were challenging. I wish I could put that in a different set of words. But because of the terrain, because of the wind, and, it was wet and sloppy and rocky, and, trying to get cows from one place to another. A herd of cows you ain't never seen before in your life. So you don't know which one of these is going to be the wiry one's going to dart out. You don't know which one of these are on the hook or on the fight or anything like that. So you get these what would you say? You get these.
Is there an element of like having?
Sometimes.
Well, that's definitely a cowboy. Do you get the element of also teamwork and sort of strategizing? I'm thinking like Big Brother or Survivor, because when you think of working cattle, usually it's not done solo. There's one or two or three or four or multiple guys out there when you think about large herds. So is that strategy at play? I know there's 13 total on Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. So do you have that behind the scenes? Yeah.
When they put us in the teams and we would go out to do a challenge, that was one of the things was figuring out who is best at what, and trying to play off the strengths, and it's hard because you're working as a team and you don't want to exploit the weaknesses as a team, but you're individually competing, and so that was a hard part for me, because I wanted to get out here and cowboy with these guys. A lot of these, I made some great friends, and it's like you're constantly you're playing this game of angel on this shoulder and devil on this shoulder, because it's like help them, go after them, and get them off the show. So trying to figure out what works together in the team, at the same time trying to make yourself stand out and not look like a gunsel, then that was the challenge. That was the most challenging part. If you want my honest opinion.
Full of challenges. Cody, can you stick with us?
Oh yeah. Yep.
All right, we got more with Cody Traylor. He is with INSP's Ultimate Cowboy Showdown, which is starting to air April the 21st. So stick with us. out more, head on over to supertalktv.com. You'll meet Mississippi native Cody Traylor. He's on an adventure. He's competing in the INSP's show, The Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. Okay, Cody, we've got several folks or friends on the C Spire text line asking, what channel is INSP? So where can they find you on April 21st?
Well, INSP is you can find it on all your local cable affiliates and satellite. I know on Dish it is, I think, channel 256. Don't quote me, but it's somewhere up there. It's right past the Cowboy channel. It's about the only channel that I really watch, when I do turn on the television. But yeah, April 21st, 8 p.m. Central Time, I believe, and then if y'all are on the West Coast like me, Western or Pacific Time, I think it's going to be at 10 p.m. So, and I want to say that's a Saturday, 2 Saturdays from now.
That's coming up close. Are you getting excited to show the world about what Cody did on the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, it's I don't know. It's a little different when you get a camera in front of your face and everything you say is recorded, right? So,
tell me about it.
You might have regretted saying a couple of things that are going to be there forever, but at the same time, you said them, you did them, you went and did it, and that was my thought about it was, I got this opportunity to go and compete and have fun and meet these great cowboys, and it was a blast, and I can't wait for people to see it. In fact, in the town that I live in is a very, very small town in northeastern Washington, right? And we are going to be. And you can find, going back to your INSP, you can find it on INSP.com and everything. There's a channel finder bar on the website. But, and it's 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'm sorry, I'm being corrected.
That is perfectly fine. So that would be even earlier for us
Eastern
here.
Time on the 21st. And if you can't find it on the TV guide, look on the INSP.com on the website, and it'll show you where to find it through all your local affiliates and satellite and all that stuff. But, this town that I live in, we're going to go to a local brewery, and I promise you half the town is going to show. It'd be just like if I was back home. I'm telling you, if I was anywhere between Boonville and West Point, Mississippi, and we were having a get-together like this, I'd have half the state show up at the door. We'd have to put it on a projector outside. And then everybody would get to point and laugh and say whatever they want, or that was cool, that wasn't, and I think it's still going to be a good time, no matter what.
It's going to be a good time, and you're still going to have your Mississippi family is going to show up, maybe in their own living room. They may even go to their local bar, brewery,
they've
yeah.
Planned shindigs.
Mississippians like a party too, or a reason to get out and root on a home team or a homeboy, and that's exactly what you are to us. And speaking of, taking part of your home with you, I know part of the show was the fact you had to take your own horse. I think this is really sweet. And so who did you take with you? Tell us about the horse that was on the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown with you.
Well, we were able to take two, and how do I put this in radio language? Because I always say it in the cowboy way that we can't say. The FCC would not be very happy with how I put that. He can do anything horse. His name was Zim. He was a 11-year-old dun horse I had, a King's Hollywood horse, and just a good quarter horse. He had the horriblest trot. You couldn't find a trot on him to sit comfortably, nothing. Once you got into a canter, he was fine. But you could do anything on it. I could jump him, and I could rope on him. I could take him, and I could pick up on him. I could go and sort cows. I could, work an alley at a feedlot with him, or a bell barn or something. I could do anything on him. But he was my go-to horse for everything. But always take a backup whenever you have the opportunity. And so, about the only other option I had that could do all the same stuff, I had a 17-year-old Pinto, an old paint horse, big old paint horse, about 16 hands. His name was Poncho, and he had about two gears, and that was slow and no. But at the same time, I could rope, and you could drag. I mean, that was a good thing about that horse. You could drag to the fire with him all day long. He's great in a Brandon pen or something like that, So I knew that with those two, I could get everything done that I needed to. And Yeah, we left.
Well, do they
Washington
realize that they're going to be stars whenever this comes
Oh, yeah,
out?
they're
Because
ecstatic.
as much
They're ecstatic, you know. And you know, they're asking for all the good grain now. They see all the money rolling in, you know. Like, what can I say? No, we had it was a good experience for them too, because we left Washington because I had just gotten out of the Air Force. 3 weeks before the show started, I had just finaled out of McCord Air Force Base, and so I was getting all my stuff together. And they're like, "Hey, you're coming to the show," and I was like, "Cool, I'm going to the show." And so I grabbed them, and we left Washington and got to Wyoming. It took us about a day and a half to get down there. I stopped at my cousin in Wyoming and saw them and got to spend some time. Then drove on down to Douglas, where we filmed at the Powderhorn Ranch. And so after the show was done filming, I was 2 days from home, as in Washington, and I was 2 days from home, as in Mississippi. Well, I hadn't seen my family. And I'm just like, well, I've got my horses. I've got everything I own. I'm just going to go home. And it was right, you know, it was right before Thanksgiving. So I got to come home and enjoy a good Thanksgiving, because I promise you I gained 10 pounds in a week. and got to enjoy that. And the horses got to enjoy actually eating some green grass, because up here everything we'd already been feeding hay for a month and a half, you know. And so they got on some good grass. They kept weight good. They looked good all the way down to Mississippi. And then we turned around and got back to Washington in 52 hours. And yeah, thank God we did. It was the best time to do it, because about a week later, all of Nebraska shut down because of all of I-80 shut down because of a blizzard. So we picked the best day in the world to drive across the country. So it was a good trip, and I had great horses along that trip that really helped me, and they're the stars. I mean, I can't talk enough about them. I could sit here and give you a whole interview on them. I can't tell you anything about anything else, but I can tell you about these horses of mine.
Well, the next time you're on Good Things, Cody, we'll have to make sure that the horse can be on with you. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to fit him in the saddle shop right now.
Well, we can take the computer to the horse. Let's just put it that way. There's always a way around it with technology, Cody. I know another part of the show, which is Ultimate Cowboy Showdown, is the host is Trace Adkins. And I hear that one of your other passions is being a musician or a singer. What was it like getting to meet Trace, and how was he as a host?
Trace was awesome. He was a totally down to earth guy. I mean, which you hear that a lot when people meet, you know, superstars, especially that caliber. Oh, they're pretty cool. Or you might hear some other stories, but you know, I actually got to shake hands with him and say hi to him once before when I was stationed in Spain, and he did a USO show in Rota, where I was stationed at, and you know, it's cool to shake hands, and he's like, I've seen you before somewhere. And I'm like, well, yeah, you know, it's easy for me to remember the guy that I met once, not him remembering, you know, some guy he met in passing, you know, 4 years before that. But it was really cool to meet him and work with him, and you know, just have that opportunity. Yeah, he's a really, like I said, down to earth guy. He gets out there, he enjoyed the country. There was one point, it was me, him, and Booger Brown, and we're sitting on this ridge, and to the south of us, there are these big old muleys, these big old mule deer just going at, and they're about 2 miles off. And I think he was trying to brief us on how to do this, and we all just stopped. And these big old, I mean, it's every country boy's dream to see, you know, elk or deer or moose or whatever going at it, and we're just sitting there watching it. We're just mesmerized, you know. And I think that shows just the character of the guy. I mean, he loves nature. He loves being out there. It was cold. We were all kind of chilly, but other than complaining about that, I don't think I heard a bad word out of his mouth.
Well, that's pretty cool. Okay, well, you've got it set up and ready, Cody, for April the 21st. It'll air at 7 o'clock Central here in Mississippi for our listeners here on Good Things on INSP, which they can find it on their network, or they can go to the website to find a station locator, or I'm sure watch it from there. Where can we connect with you online and follow sort of behind the scenes or as the show goes?
Well, you can find I just released my first album. It's on Spotify. It's CJ Traylor Session 1, and it was recorded up in Ripley. When I came home, that was one of the goals I had, was to record my first album back home in Mississippi. I'm telling you, I'm the proudest son of Mississippi there ever was, and I ain't never shied away from telling anybody where I'm from. But I just enjoy my mountains and living out here. So when I got the opportunity to record, I did. It's like I said, on Spotify, CJ Traylor Session 1. You can find me on Instagram at the Drifting Cowboy, and also on TikTok, same thing. So.
All right, Cody, you got to come back and give us an update as the show moves through. Deal?
That worked for me.
All righty. Well, it was so nice to meet you. Best of luck. We'll be watching,
Thank you,
and
ma'am.
we'll talk soon. But you guys stick with us. We've got more good things up next.